Welcome back to the program, folks. John Pollock here alongside Robin Black. UFC 186, it is coming up Saturday night, April 25th. Tons of coverage here on Fight Network. And one of the men we're going to be chatting about throughout Fight Week, he is the Tough Nations winner, Chad Laprise, who is with us on the line. He is going to be taking on Brian Barberena at the Bell Center on UFC 186 night. Chad, how are you today?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great.
Where are you right now? Are you you're in Montreal? Are you training today?
Yeah, I'm in Montreal. I've already trained twice today, actually, and I'm just resting up, and I'm going back tonight.
Well,
so I'm just getting a little rest in between sessions, and we'll go back to do it again.
Is that kind of standard for you when you're about 2 weeks out, that you're getting in this many workouts in preparation? Is that kind of your rhythm that you get into?
This is kind of standard for me all year round. You know, I train 2 and 3 times a day all year round, so it's really it's no different. I'm just kind of in that peaking phase right now. So actually, I train less when I have a fight coming up, and just shorter and more intense to get ready for fight night. And
in the last 10 days, it gets shorter and shorter, super high intensity, short duration. Am I right for you?
Absolutely. So it's just revving up the machine and then shutting it right back down, and making sure that my batteries are fully charged up for fight night.
Do you have one more sparring session this Saturday?
Yeah, I'm going to spar this Saturday. It's going to be a really hard one. And then I have next week, I'm going to spar twice as well. But my next Saturday will only be 3 rounds and just light, and make sure that I don't get hurt. You know, that's injury prevention will be the number one thing.
Well, I think that is key for this particular card, Chad, because, I mean, these fighters have been falling apart, so don't add to the list by any means.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. You know, the card's definitely taking some hits. But like I said before, I was telling a bunch of people on social media that, you know, even though some of the big name guys are out, you know, I'm definitely going to be bringing fireworks. So people are going to get their money's worth. And I'm sure all of my Canadian teammates are going to be bringing it as well.
Yeah, I'm sure, for sure, Chad. Hey, now, you know, I've been watching you commentating some of your stuff early on, and your striking game is really, you know, you came into the UFC with your striking game on a level above most of the people. And what is it you've been developing lately? Is there any, where are you going with the striking in particular, or where do you evolve to from here?
Yeah, you know, moving up here to Montreal has been awesome. I have so many great training partners and coaches, and I've really worked hard on making my game more well-rounded. But I've also been working even harder on my striking as well. You know, I work with Howard Grant is my boxing coach up here. Angelo DeBella I have as my kickboxing coach, and I work with the Muay Thai coach Crew Ash, and obviously Frost Hobby, I'm my head coach. You know, I'm definitely. I have some little tricks up my sleeve for this fight, and I can't wait to let them out.
Let's go back to the Halifax card in October, because I was cage side for that fight, and I mean, your striking game just looked tremendous that night. I'm certain yourself you criticize yourself maybe larger than anyone, your team around you. I mean, what did you take away from that fight? What kind of a performance was that from you and your team's perspective?
Yeah, you know, I was definitely happy that I got in there, got the win. You know, the guy really didn't even touch me the whole fight. But I was really mad at myself that I didn't finish that fight. You know, I felt like that was my fight to finish. You know, I got like 4 or 5 takedowns in that fight, which is kind of a new thing for me. So, you know, it was a work in progress, but I plan on performing even better come on the 25th.
When you are striking with somebody, is part of the game to kind of overload their processor, show them so many different looks and imply so many different weapons that it overloads them a little bit? Is that part of the mentality?
You know, absolutely. I definitely don't want to be too one-dimensional. You know, people kind of know me as a really good boxer. So if I can throw some kicks in there, some knees, some elbows, show them different angles and different head movement, you know, it definitely throws them off, and hopefully I can set them up for that nice clean shot.
Have you found it at all a big adjustment for yourself, Chad? I mean, you went through the Ultimate Fighter house, and now you've got 30 minutes of octagon time that you can sit down, that you can analyze, that your coaches can take a lot from. In terms of just adjusting to life as a UFC fighter on this stage, is that still an evolutionary process, or was it a seamless one for you?
No, you know, I think what really helped me is I had cornered in the UFC like 5 or 6 times before I actually fought there. So I knew exactly what I was coming into, and I knew exactly what I was going to expect. So even when I fought Olivier for the Ultimate Fighter for the finals, I wasn't nervous even one bit. and I went out there and I was just able to do my thing. So I've been one of the guys who's been pretty lucky who never really got those UFC jitters. But we'll see. Come the next fight,
Yeah, Chad, I just want to change it up for a second. You don't need advice from a guy like me, but I got a little piece of advice. Tell me what you think. I think you need an even bigger cross around your neck.
If you can find me one, I'll wear it.
When we look, Chad, at the current scene right now, specifically in Ontario, and I'm sure this applies as well to Quebec, a lot of fighters that are coming up right now, and this was a position you were in not too long ago. I mean, what's kind of your advice to a lot of these young up-and-coming Canadian fighters where there's a lot of talent, but sometimes not the places and the promotions to go get that experience? Is a lot of it having to get out of these provinces, getting out of Canada in order to secure a lot of fights? Is that a big problem for younger fighters?
Yeah, I feel so bad for these guys coming up, man. It's so hard nowadays to get fights with pretty much no shows in Ontario. Quebec is finally just starting to run shows again. Yeah. There's so many up and coming killers that nobody even knows about just because these guys they don't have the experience. And what I always tell them is like, you're gonna make $500, $1,000 in a fight. I'm like, fight for free if you have to. Just go anywhere you can. Pay your own flight to get there, even if you have to. You know what I mean? The most important thing is experience in fights. You're never gonna get to the UFC with having 3 fights. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just like once they're ready and once they're at that level, go out there and get as many fights as possible. Leave Canada if you have to. Like I said, even fight for free or pay your own way to get there.
Now, Chad, when you moved to Montreal, motivated to get at training partners and coaches, and specifically for your career, which is admirable to do whatever you got to do, like you're saying for young fighters. How's the move to the different city and French and everything been for you and your wife?
I came up here for one reason, and that was to be the best in the world. And living here, it's definitely a sacrifice. Without talking bad, but I don't love the city. I came from a small farming community in Chatham, Ontario. And I definitely miss home every day. I miss my family, my friends, but I'm here for a reason. And I only have a short career window. I can't do this for the rest of my life. So I'm going to suck it up, and I'm going to keep living here where I can get the best training in the world, and my career the results will show for itself.
Tell us a bit about Bryan Barberena, what you've kind of honed in on watching any of his fights, and kind of the key areas that you're most aware of going into this fight on the 25th.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimate Bryan Barberena. He's a very tough guy. I think his biggest asset is his mental toughness. He's a mentally tough guy. He's got great conditioning. He's a tall southpaw, which can throw people off. And he's just one of those guys who's going to go in there and he's going to try to make it a fight, and he's not going to quit. The last guy I fought, Yost Dennis, was kind of the opposite. He was more tricky and more dangerous, but he's a bit of a quitter. Like once I started putting on him, you could tell he didn't really want to be there anymore. Whereas Barberena is kind of the opposite. I think my skill set is a lot higher than his, but he's a guy who's going to fight tooth and nail, and I'm really looking forward to that because it's going to be a good fight for me to showcase my skills.
When you go and you get a name, and you're going to go break him down either before accepting the fight or after you have, what's that process like with Faraz? Do you book a little bit of time to sit down with him and look at the fight? How does that work with you and your head coach?
Yeah, exactly. So I for this fight, I was able to get a few names. And then we talked about it, and then kind of strengths and weaknesses. And so for us, he has the ultimate decision. But I also work with like 5 or 6 other different coaches up here, and I run it by each one of those guys and see what they think. As well with my coaches back in London too, just kind of see what everybody is thinking about them, and then we all make a game plan together, and then Frost kind of puts a stamp of approval on it.
You mentioned London. When you get back there, do you still train with the Adrenaline guys and your original coaches? Spend some time there?
Oh, for sure, absolutely. After the last fight, I went home for 2 weeks, and I was training every day back home. And this fight, lots of the guys are coming up here. So obviously, Chris Clements is fighting on the card as well. So there'll be the whole London crew will be up here. So I kind of have the best of both worlds. I have all the London guys and all my team up here in Montreal. So I couldn't be better.
Yeah, lots of Canadian content on this UFC 186 card. It's going down Saturday, April the 25th. Prelims at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then main card at 10. And I want to thank you so much for the time, Chad, and all the best going into Fight Week in Montreal.
Yeah, great catching up with you, Chad.
Awesome, guys. I can't wait to see you on Fight Week.
We will see you there. Thanks a lot, Chad.
Take care.